Hello, and thank you for joining us on Diaspora Connect, where we champion excellence by spotlighting the resilience of Nigerian citizens, breaking barriers and making a difference across the world. On the show, we explore identity, origin, and diverse journeys of Nigerians in the diaspora. I am Abosede Adeniwadermi. Let's get the show started with Diaspora News. Diaspora News: Nigeria and the Republic of Turkey have reaffirmed their commitment to deepening diaspora engagement through a memorandum of understanding aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation on diaspora affairs. The agreement was signed on behalf of Nigeria by the Ministry of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegwu, while Turkey's Ministry of Foreign Affairs signed on behalf of the Turkish government during the state visit of President Bola Tinubu to Turkey. The agreement further identifies key areas for joint action, including diaspora participation in policy formulation and implementation, among others. During a visit to NIDCOM's counterpart agency in Ankara, Turkey's Presidency for Turks Abroad and Related Communities and NIDCOM Chairman CEO Abike Dabirewa described the MOU as another major milestone under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu.
I appeal to you. You are the #1 ambassadors of Nigeria. What you project about your country is how they will treat you. If you talk negative about your country, they will treat you in a shabby manner. Look at you, you're looking beautiful, handsome, decent. Project the best of your country, Nigeria. We have a president who #1 cares about the younger generation of Nigerians, is passionate about you and your welfare, and is determined to make Nigeria a better place because of you. He's taking hard decisions because he's sincere. A sincere person takes the hard decisions, because you will all appreciate those decisions later. So I appreciate all you're doing. The discipline you have here, let it translate to your actions back home in Nigeria.
And now, let's tell you that Diaspora Connect connects you to your roots. So let's check out these fun facts on our Did You Know segment. Some incredible facts there. Today on the program, we are exploring how diaspora media keep African stories alive in the UK. My guest is Femi Okutubo. Femi Okutubo is a seasoned journalist, publisher, and media executive with over 3 decades of experience documenting and amplifying the African diaspora in the United Kingdom. He is the publisher of The Trumpet, a free monthly newspaper he has produced consistently for more than 30 years, making it one of the longest surviving African community publications in the United Kingdom. He is also the founder of the Gathering of Africa's Best Awards, an annual platform established in 1999 to recognize and celebrate outstanding African achievers. Both the Trumpet and Gab Awards stand as testaments to his vision, resilience, and commitment to positive representation. Educated at Igbobi College, Mr. Okutubo studied economics at Olabisi Onabanjo University before relocating to the UK, where he earned a master's degree in economics from Birkbeck, University of London. He began his professional career in the UK public sector before transitioning fully into publishing in 1995. At Diaspora Connect, Femi Okutubo represents the power of diaspora media in shaping narratives, preserving history, and celebrating African excellence. Mr. Okutubo, my senior colleague, it's a pleasure to welcome you to Diaspora Connect.
Thank you so much, Abosede. It's a pleasure to to be with you.
Indeed, it's a pleasure to have you on our invitation. You have made a great move from Igbobi College to Olabisi Onabanjo University and where you are now. Tell me a bit about your background in Nigeria before you moved to the UK. What did you study for your first degree?
My first degree was in economics, and yeah, so that's what I sort of then decided to go and do a master's in. But also, I think one significant thing was that even while in Nigeria and while as a student, I was also a campus journalist, an award-winning one at that. And even at university, I had the opportunity of serving on the university's press council. So I was one of two student members of the University Press Council at Olabisi Onabanjo University, then Ogun State University, which was out to regulate campus journalism.
Right, so I think I'm interested in how a student of economics ventured into campus journalism and didn't only succeed at it, but was outstanding. Tell me about that story and the perception that your colleagues had of you.
Put it this way, right from a very young age, I had a flair for writing. So as early as, I can't remember the exact age now, but I don't think I was 12 when I had a letter published in the Daily Times, which as at the time was Nigeria's major and largest circulating newspaper. So there was this column called it was like an ombudsman kind of column, where you had a complaint and then the newspaper would investigate it and probably publish a response for the public. So I had a complaint about against a particular organization, and I managed to have that published. Beside that, I also had an uncle who was a veteran, so to speak, with Daily Times, and at one point he was chief reporter at the Daily Times, so he was also a source of inspiration, Femi Okutubo, and so there had always been that flair there. So even when I now started doing my A levels at Ogun State Polytechnic, now Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, I was part of a campus publication, and it just sort of blossomed from there, where even in spite of everything that I did, it was always about, I always was either part of a campus campus journal, or better still, somewhere along the line, I then started campus journals. Somewhere along there, I had a very strong ambition to actually start a national campus newspaper. So we had what we called the Campus Banner Organization. And the strategy at the time, while at Olabisi Onabanjo University, was to actually do it to start on a regional basis. So start from the southwest part of Nigeria, then gradually expand to the rest of Nigeria. Unfortunately, it wasn't an easy business. So we didn't manage to go beyond the southwest region of Nigeria till I left university, until I left the country. But when I arrived back here when I arrived in the United Kingdom, I discovered that there was actually gaps in the market. And so even though I was a student, I was thinking of starting a campus publication as well. So then I was a student at Birkbeck College, University of London. But then I noticed that there was actually a more pressing need for our own voice. It was a time at which you discover that hardly would any weekend go by the newspapers down here, the mainstream newspapers, would always have one negative story about, about a Nigerian at the time, because, and especially Africans, but mostly Nigerians. They even wrote to the extent of even claiming that there are universities of fraud in Nigeria, and I just felt that, hang on a minute, how lazy could one be? How can someone actually say that there's a university of fraud in Nigeria? So I felt that there was the need to change that story, to change that narrative. And as they usually say, if you don't blow your own trumpet, nobody else would. And that began the journey that led to the birth of the Trumpet newspaper. And the rest, they say, is history.
Indeed, it's history. But I would like us to revisit your effort, at birthing that national campus journal. I really do hope that somehow it can follow through. Perhaps there could be some students who are currently in school who have the passion. It might just be one of those projects you might consider going back to, sharing the vision again, and let's see how it rolls. And when that succeeds, you owe me one, Mr. Okutubo.
Don't worry, I'll give you a consultancy fee.
All right.
Well,
so when exactly did you move to the UK? And talk to me also about settling, because you went there to study economics, and here you were again talking journalism, campus journalism, and from that transitioning to having the Trumpet, which has been successfully sustained for more than 30 years. Tell me the story.
Okay, I think to put it in proper context, I must start by saying that I was actually born in the United Kingdom. So I was born in the United Kingdom almost 60 years ago. So I'm just 2 days to my 60th birthday. So, and I came back, I came into the country while I was, back to Nigeria while I was 5. So I had my primary, secondary, A-levels, and my degree, my first degree in Nigeria. And then I moved to the UK while I was 23. So in terms of transitioning from, like I said, I have no formal qualifications in journalism, but I always had a flair for journalism. And I would say I learned a lot, even just by observing. Aside from that, I also freelanced with a number of newspapers in Nigeria. So I did, I did a lot of opinion articles for Daily Times, for what's this one? For Daily Times, Tribune, and The Guardian mainly. And there were also people I looked up to in the profession at the time, people that I usually had chats with and so on. So I would say that was the only training I probably had. Now, back to the issue of campus journalism. Again, if something is within you, I don't think it's something you can run away from. So I remember an incident at Olabisi Onabanjo University where it appeared as if I even placed a lot more premium on campus journalism compared to my studies, to the extent that I was meant to be in class, and I had an appointment with one of our staff advisors at the time, Professor Riosho at the Olabisi Onabanjo University. He was the dean of faculty. And then I had this course in business studies, which was more of an elective, business finance it was. And unfortunately, I got late to the class. And the lecturer told me that, hang on a minute. And I told him that, I'm very sorry. I had a meeting with the staff advisor and whatnot. It's all okay, don't worry. It looks like it's that staff advisor who's actually going to sort of mark your papers at the end of, when you do your exams. And to cut a long story short, that was a course where I actually scored 38 when the minimum could be, to actually pass was 40. So, but, without saying too much, I'm sure people can read in between the lines, the kind of passion that one has for journalism and, some of the things that one had to go through, even in that, in the quest of achieving that passion.
All right. And you moved from the public sector, transitioning fully into publishing in 1995. So I can guess what inspired that move, because that was my next question, but I suppose you have even reeled that out already.
Yeah. So just to put that in proper context, so I arrived in the United Kingdom in 1989, and then I joined the British Civil Service. So even in the British Civil Service, so I initially had a job as an administrative assistant in the civil service. So the very bottom rung. Within a couple of weeks, I found another job as an administrative officer. And then probably somewhere along the line, I got promoted to junior management level, so what we call an executive officer. But one thing sort of struck me. I looked at the difference in my salary moving from an administrative officer to an executive officer, and I saw that, hang on a minute, the difference wasn't really that much, even after tax. And I felt that, hang on, if I continue along this line, I don't even, I hope I don't die as a wretched person. Not that journalism pays that much sometimes, or at least at that time. So I felt that, hang on, I needed to move. So, but while I was still in the civil service, I had already started the campus publication. Sorry, not the campus. I had already started the trumpet.
Okay.
Yeah, so from, let's say, the trumpet started in 1995, but I didn't leave the civil service till 1997. So which means that for 2 years, I was actually doing both. But even when I was going into work while running the publication, it looks like I'd really lost interest in the job. My mind wasn't really there. And, to see the publication, a much needed item, I would say at the time, being widely accepted within the community was more than a motivation to really quit my job, which I eventually had to do.
I think it's quite incredible, Mr. Okutubo, how you have managed to stay the course, publishing the trumpet over 30 years. That is incredible. I mean, considering innovations in communication technology, you just somewhat continued moving with the trend from Gen Z. I mean, you just embody it all. And I think that's amazing. And also you founded the GAB Awards. Talk to us about the GAB Awards. What's this about?
Okay, so the GAB Awards, which means Gathering of Africa's Best Awards, is an extension of the ideals and the objectives of the Trumpet newspaper. So while the objective of the newspaper is to promote the positive image of Africans and Africa and Africans around the world by reporting on what is happening within the community, the Gathering of Africa's Best Awards, or the GAB Awards, goes one step further by actually rewarding excellence, identifying people who are actually contributing to the promotion of the positive image of Africa and Africans, and then rewarding them. And so it goes hand in hand with the with the publication itself. And it's we like I usually say, we have to actually blow our own trumpet, and that's the whole reason why we've decided that rather than just report it, we've got to also go steps further by actually telling our own story, by inviting people to the event, not just within our own community, but even from the mainstream, to to showcase the the exceptional talent that we have within the diaspora African community.
All right, and no wonder your name is the Trumpet. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
All right, so as we wrap up the conversation, I would this is 2 in 1. First, how do you think that Nigerians in the diaspora can, follow this trend that you as an individual have set? How do you think that young Nigerians also who are currently in the country and who have vision like you do, but who feel is a disadvantage now, how do you think they can come on board and do something different? I think I should take that in. Let's see if I have a few more seconds to take the next.
Okay, so are you talking about Nigerians in Nigeria or Nigerians?
Yeah, both ways. Nigerians in Nigeria, how can they get on board? And the Nigerians who are currently in the diaspora, what can they do back home? Just like you also, what are you doing back home to give back to motherland?
Okay, so I think now things are probably a little bit easier than they were some years ago or some decades ago, in the sense that the world is now a global village. There's technology, that one could tap to one's advantage. And in terms of what we're already doing, so even beyond the print newspaper itself, we're now more active online. via our website, via our email newsletter, via our social media channels. Again, even some of the stuff that we, in terms of articles, in terms of writing, we do engage with Africans back on the continent. So that's been quite, useful. But if there's any key thing that I'll probably say to any Nigerian or African, especially back on the continent, it's to begin to look at things from a global perspective. The fact that you could actually be in Nigeria and actually earn money or earn foreign exchange even from outside the nation through whatever endeavors you do. Do not restrict your products to just your immediate audience, especially if there's an opportunity to actually tap into a wider audience. And I think that is definitely one of the areas that one should go to. Look at many of the fintech companies that you have now. You have fintech companies in Nigeria now that, such that they would stand the test of time or have stood the test of time in terms of, playing at the global level. You also have so many people in Africa now who are actually, they live in Nigeria, but they also freelance in various areas of human endeavor without even living in Nigeria, and they actually earn money. So I think that's definitely one thing that one should, embark on. The only other thing I'll also say as well is that, yes, it's nice to work for someone, but like I usually tell people, when you work for someone, the ceiling of that office is the limit, but when you work for yourself, the heavens, is the limit.
I think it's a great way to wrap up the conversation. I wanted to ask you about what you miss about your 18-year stay in Nigeria. Let's see if I can push
Sorry,
that.
I didn't get that.
What do you miss most about your 18-year stay in Nigeria from 5 to 23 when you left?
Well. I miss the people. I miss the food. Yes, we do have some African food here, but it's not as, you probably have to get it at a very expensive price. I probably miss the climate as well. I probably miss many of my primary, secondary school mates. But thank God for technology. We're now reconnecting. But I think more importantly, I miss the fact that, okay, there's probably more I could be doing on the continent. I could be doing in Nigeria, especially in playing my own little role towards the development of the country. But even in my own little way, I think I'm gradually moving towards that, and I know that eventually we'll get there.
That is amazing. Femi Okutubo is veteran journalist, publisher of The Trumpet, and founder of the Gab Awards. Thank you very much for your time on Diaspora Connect.
Thank you so much, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
As we wrap up the conversation, one important thing to take note of, and which is from that interview we just had, is to begin to look at things from a global perspective. Whether you are in the city or whether you are in the village, wherever at all you found yourself, begin to look at things from a global perspective, and that would actually also position you for that height that you so lovingly desire. Remember to always exude that glow of a true Naija individual. I'll see you again. My name is Abosede Adeniran Aderemi. Enjoy the rest of your day.